A warm welcome to everyone joining us on today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch. It's Thursday, September the 11th.
And I am Grace Agbaragu here at the FMDQ Archives in Lagos. I hope you've all had a great day so far.
All right, then let's begin with your news now. This Thursday, Arise Integrated Industrial Platforms, a pan-African industrial zone developer, has completed a $700 million capital raise, welcoming Saudi investor Vision Invest as a shareholder. The funding, one of Africa's largest private infrastructure capital raises, will drive Arise IIP's expansion and the development of green, inclusive, sustainable industrial ecosystems across the continent. Arise IIP's shareholder base now includes Africa Finance Corporation, Equitain, the Fund for Export Development in Africa, and Vision Invest. Algeria has hosted the largest number of participants in physical presence since the biannual Intra-Africa Trade Fair was floated in 2018. This week, the 2025 edition of the fair, held in Algiers, saw thousands of Algerians trooping in on the final day, even on the final as the final plenary was taking place. Frontier Africa Reports executive editor Bossing Omofaye was there, and he sent in this video. Let's listen.
It's the final day of the IETF 2025 here in Algiers. We've been here 8 days, and as I'm speaking to you, it's about 3:35 in the afternoon, and the closing plenary is going on, and it's going to be closing press briefing. But as you can see over here, it's still just a little bit more like a carnival. Algerians are still here in their hundreds and hundreds still attending, women, children, all of them pouring into the main auditorium, and they're still binging on this particular event. They're enjoying themselves. They're having a very good time catching part of the trade and the ambience that will be provided. It's been a very good show, by the way, put together by the Algerian government, Ministry of Transportation, the police, the people, the organizers, and of course the IETF itself and the team of Afrexim Bank. And for the people of Algeria, this will be remembered for a very long time to come. This is the first of its kind for the government and the people of Algeria, and we are happy to welcome all of us from the rest of Africa and the rest of the world to this very beautiful and tourism city of Algiers. And I've enjoyed myself, by the way. We had some nice food, transportation was good, but again, I'm just enthused by the men and women, the children, the elderly that are here, all having fun. And again, we're going to look forward to seeing a very big event taking place in Nigeria in 2 years' time. But for now, you can see the images speak for themselves. It's not, when we talk intra-Africa trade, it's not just about big economics, but also children, young ones, the mothers, the pregnant ones, see, those, everyone in between, having a feel of the hospitality of Afrexim Bank, the Intra-Africa Trade Fair organization, and of course the people of Algeria.
In Kenya, Access Bank Kenya has appointed Ralph Opara as country managing director effective 8 September 2025, following approval from the Central Bank of Kenya. Opara, formerly group head of the bank's commercial banking division, succeeds Lillian Odiambo, who had led in an acting capacity since 2024 and will remain executive director for wholesale banking. Still in the region, the Africarena Nairobi Summit 2025 is live in the Kenyan capital, a gathering of Africa's innovators, investors, and game changers. From startup pitches to panel conversations, the summit is positioning Nairobi as a hub of tech, capital, and new ideas for the continent. Let's now listen.
With most things, women are disproportionately affected by climate change. Anytime there's any kind of crisis, we find girls leaving school to do the work of caregiving, women stepping back into households out of their business, and so on and so forth. But on the other side, we also see that at least 60% of women in Africa are gainfully employed by agriculture, which is a big part of the food conversation, of the climate change conversation. The other thing we see is that at least 80% of household decisions are made by women already. And so if you're actually trying to make a difference in climate, there's no real way to avoid having women at the forefront of this. From a VC standpoint and on a F6 venture standpoint, at least 15% of the fund is committed to climate, and at least 30% of the fund is committed to female founders. And so we're not just sitting here saying that this needs to happen. We're actually making moves towards what that means, and that has taken different shapes. It has meant changing the language we use in emails. It has meant changing how we approach female founders. It has meant changing how we're doing our calls to application. It has meant many different things just to make sure that women are at the forefront.
In energy news, the International Energy Agency has raised its forecast for global oil supply growth in 2025 after OPEC Plus agreed to hike production while also lifting its demand growth estimate on the back of resilient deliveries in advanced economies. In its latest monthly oil market report, the IEA said the outlook remains mixed, with higher OPEC Plus output and stronger demand offset by the risk of supply losses from new sanctions on Russia and Iran, warning that oil balances could become increasingly bloated. In South Africa, the South African Tourism Investment Summit just wrapped up in Cape Town, a global meeting point for investors and policy leaders under the G20 agenda. Over 2 days, dealmakers, CEOs, and government officials zeroed in on investment-ready projects to reposition tourism as a cornerstone of South Africa's economic recovery. Let's now pay attention.
Since 2011, the waterfront has been 50% owned by Growthpoint, the largest property investment company in South Africa, but importantly owned by the Government Employees Pension Fund as represented by the Public Investment Corporation. And over the next 10 minutes or so, what I'd like to do is to give you some insight into what I believe are the key principles behind the success of this public-private partnership. My hope is to illustrate that this is not just a Cape Town story, but this is a replicable tourism investment model that we can deliver solid investment yields, significant job opportunities, and an
Finally, on News Now, South Africa's FirstRand Limited has reported a 10% rise in full-year normalized earnings to 41.8 billion rand for the year ended June 30, up from 37.9 billion rand a year earlier. The performance allowed the lender to absorb a 2.7 billion rand pre-tax accounting provision stemming from a UK court ruling on motor finance claims. The bank, which operates across sub-Saharan Africa and the UK, declared a final dividend of 247 cents per share. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it for today's edition of News Now. The show returns shortly with Grace at the FMDQ Archives Room for our Markets Round.
This annual gathering represents not just a meeting of minds, but a powerful platform for important debate on the future of our continent. A future where energy security and sustainability are within reach.
African countries account for almost 20% of the global population, but only for 4% of the world's total energy investment. Now, this imbalance should be ringing an alarm bell for all of us.
Our priority must continue to be to end energy poverty for all Africans, as well as create an enabling environment where the oil and gas industry can thrive, be beneficial for local content, as well as be responsible with the environment.
Visit www.aecweek.com to register today. The African Energy Week, it's more than just a conference.
This annual
Welcome back to Money Moves. Thank you for sticking around. Let's now go over to Grace for our market review. Hello there, Grace.
Hi, Melissa. Now let's track today's trading day, starting off with the equities. In Nigeria, the NGX All Share Index closed at the positive, gaining 0.21%. The BROVM in Abidjan also inched up 0.10%. In North Africa, the EGX advanced 0.77%, while Morocco's MASI rose 0.08%. And in South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange gained 0.29%. Now let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The rand is 0.05% to 17.49 rand per dollar, while the Egyptian pound weakened 0.12% to 48.16. The CFA franc firmed 0.67%, and the Kenyan shilling was little changed, down 0.01% at 129.21. Meanwhile, the Moroccan dirham slipped 0.16%, and the naira gained 0.26% to 1,504 naira 80 kobo at the official window. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude fell 1.20% to $66.68 per barrel, while US WTI also dropped 1.30%. Nat gas slid 1.02%, and ROBOB gasoline weakened 1.40% to $1.97 as of 12:59 GMT. Finally, to soft prices, cocoa gained 0.87%, as coffee also gained 0.08%. Cotton is 0.50%, while palm oil advanced 0.82%. Sugar fell 0.60% to $16.47 as at 13:03 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those markets updates. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From all of us here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.